All right. Now we should be live. Hey Trish, is it working? Is it working? You see it on the Hillbilly?
Hang on.
Yeah, there's somebody in here. Okay.
Yeah, see, I didn't even get a notification from you.
Oh, okay. Bill says.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Yeah. All righty. Well, folks. Hi, Peter. We're doing great. We had things planned for tonight. I was going to have Bill Carper on here as a special guest. We was going to have another guy. The other guy had a family issue come up. He had to bail. And so we're going to do one with Bill, and that I could not get that software to work. Hillbillies, they have trouble with this modern technology stuff. So I'll get that figured out. We'll have Bill on and another guest later. And my production crew is dimming the lights. Hey, Corey, how are you, bud? Well, Peter, you ask away, buddy, because everything I had planned for tonight has gone out the window. So we're going to answer questions. So you go right and ask your question, Peter. Yeah, because Corey, I had you on one of those live streams last year, right? It worked fantastic. Well, I couldn't get it to work tonight. Still fighting the effects of the hacking and the hijacking. I worked on that. Software that I do the live streams through for like 6 hours over 2 days the other day, and thought I had it figured out, but when it was time to go live, I didn't have nothing figured out. Hey, Joey in Georgia, how's things down there? It's snowing here tonight. It's awesome. Not really. Assuming the audio, the video's okay. All right, Peter's got a question. Why would my water pressure drop in the RV once I've set my regulator at the spigot? Yeah, there's several different things, Peter. Your check valve could be going bad. You could have a crimped water line somewhere. You could have a bad pressure regulator. I'm assuming this is one of those adjustable regulators, and you set the pressure a certain amount, and you go in the RV, and your pressure's okay, but then it just starts dropping off. It can be a lot of things, really. Oh, y'all are cool tonight. We're not much cooler, but it is snow. High dollar one. Man, I don't know. Does the campground or wherever you're staying, do they have high water pressure? Really high? So it's not over about 50 pounds. You can take the regulator out and see if that cures your problem. Now, if it's one of these campgrounds that's got 70 or 80 pounds of pressure, then you can't expose your RV to that kind of pressure. So don't take the regulator out and hook up your RV. But most campgrounds have, they don't have crazy pressure. But the regulators are a very good idea. So yeah, I had all this stuff planned for tonight. Had all these questions for my guests, and none of that's going to happen. Even going to have some guests drop in. I was going to try that, but yeah, none of that's going to happen. So I didn't have anything prepared for this. So y'all going to have to ask some questions. Oh, Peter. Yeah. And it could be the campground. I mean, it's hard to say for sure. And the campground, they probably don't know what kind of pressure they got. To be honest with you, they might. Joey, man, I don't know if you saw those live streams from last year where I'd have multiple screens and different guests on here, and I was going to do one of those tonight for the first time in a while. Thought I had it all figured out, but some stuff has changed on YouTube, and I think that was the issue. I think when I was setting up this live stream on just plain on YouTube, I think I saw why the restream thing did not work, but I don't know for sure. We'll just do what we can do tonight. Yeah, well, that was one of my earlier videos, Marshall, the pop-up repair videos, because I'm kind of the only guy in this part of the world that would even work on pop-ups. Nobody around here will work on but me. Yeah, Steve wants to know the best way to lube axle bearings on an RV. I use the grease fitting on it and just spin the wheel. But that's really that's not the best way to do it. Best way to do it is actually tear the wheels down, clean your bearings, inspect them, re-grease them, put them back. That's a lot of work. Nobody wants to do that. So, that's the best way to do it because, it'll take me between 4 and 5 hours to do 4 wheels to do it properly and replace the seals because when you poke the bearing out of the back of the hub, you destroy the seal, so you have to replace the seals. Hey, Sandra, you work on your own. Well, that's awesome. You know me if you watch any of my videos. I love it when gals fix stuff. Generators? Sure, ask away, Chris. I may not know the answer, but I'll make up something. No, if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you. Yeah, Marshall, I agree. Definitely have to do your own work if possible, and that's fine. That's why I started the YouTube channel to try and help people out. People wanted to be DIYers. Peter, the check valve is typically right there where you plug the water hose in. That's the fitting where you put the water hose on the outside of the camper. Just on the other side of that is your check valve. That's what keeps the water from squirting out there if you're using your water pump in your freshwater tank. There's a check valve there. And those check valves, they do funny things. They'll fail. They'll come apart inside, turn sideways. They'll do all kinds of things. Running rough on startup. 2 minutes later, it's fine. Probably just a carburetor adjustment issue, Chris. Chris said his generator runs fine or it runs rough on startup, and a couple minutes later it's fine so it's just a choke. That's probably about how long it takes for the choke to go from choke to wide open. So you need a choke adjustment most probably. Y'all really need to come up with some questions. 15 of y'all in here. Really appreciate that. Didn't announce this. I didn't give any warning. So this is great. If it looks like I'm over here reading, that's what I'm doing. So what do you mean it acts like the brushes are bad, Douglas? Douglas wrote on Onan. He gives the model number. I replaced the brushes, ran for a couple hours. Now it's acting like brushes are messed up again. So you tell me what it's doing. Yeah, cool, Marshall. Marshall says as soon as he got his pop up, replace the brakes, the bearings, the tires, the thermostat, box, PEX tool and fitting with cutter used on last trip of the season. Well, great. Uh, Glad you're using your RV. Yes, Douglas. He said wants to know is it common for brushes to stick? We installed the new module dies as soon as you let off the start button. Yeah, brushes can stick, especially if you didn't clean the commutator up good. Maybe the commutator was rough. That's what happened to the other brushes. Maybe you put new brushes in there, and if the commutator was, I think that's what it's called, was rough or damaged, it may have eat those brushes up, or they might have just stuck because they will stick sometimes. Tear in a rubber roof repair. Depends on the size of the hole, Steve. Um, I mean, a lot of RV techs do not like Eternabond, and I don't think Eternabond is an eternal fix. But it's better than letting your roof leak. So if you've got a hole in your roof, if you got nothing else, slap some Eternabond on there to keep it from getting any water damage, and then a permanent fix is to replace the roof. To be honest with you, or you can patch it with something better. If it's if it's a rubber roof, you can use Dicor. If it's a little bitty hole, um, if it's a little bigger hole, you can use Eternabond. I don't know. It just depends on the hole, really. But do something. Don't just leave the hole. Chris Houston wants to know on a Class A V10, 41,000 miles, any recommendations on trans service? Well, Chris, I don't do any chassis work on motorhomes. Haven't for 20 years, so I really don't have a recommendation or any knowledge on that stuff anymore. I work in the coach. I've been working in the coach pretty exclusively for 20 years. Sorry, can't help you. An 8-inch hole in your roof. That sounds like a really good place for Eternabond. Uh, and honestly, the Eternabond's fine if you keep an eye on it, because it will start peeling up around the edges and finally not bond eternally anymore. Eternally. Uh, but yeah, that sounds like a good place for Eternabond to me. Oh, Sandra has a general question to me, and then me and the Marshalls are thinking about going to expandable versus pop up. Any brands to avoid pitfalls? You're talking about the hybrids, one, the hard sided camper that has the fold out things with the canvas. I do not like those things because that wall where that bed tips out, those walls always rot. Those things leak in those corners, and then the beds want to fall out. So I do not like hybrids. Either have a pop up or a hard side. Don't try and mix the two. My opinion, which is all I can give you because that's all I have. uh, Marshall, there ain't no good one as far as I'm concerned. Like I say, I'm not a fan of the hybrids at all. Douglas says he cleaned the commutator with Scotch Brite, spun it over with a drill, with spark plug out. That's a pretty nasty place for a finger. Yeah, you got that right. Um, yeah, Douglas. I mean, the brushes could have hung. Something could have happened to the brushes, or you could have had another part fail. Um, Onans are terrible to work on. There's not a lot of things you can actually. What's the word I'm looking for? There's not a lot of things you can test to see if this component is good or bad. You have to buy the component, which Onan components are extremely expensive. Put it in, see if it works. because once you bought it, it's yours. So yeah, that's I kind of quit working on generators the last few years too, just because Onan parts got so incredibly expensive. Yeah, Peter. I haven't done a video on that subject because I just haven't had that type of work to do to get a video. People want me to do videos on this or that. I'll be honest with you. I mean, if I don't get a call for this or that, I can't do a video on it. I don't own an RV, so I can't go to my RV and call some issue just so I can repair it.
Henry Price.
And sorry about that. I forgot to put my phone on silent. Yeah, Corey, I do that too. I will put Dicor around the Eternabond, put the Eternabond patch on and put Dicor around it. That's a good one. Thanks for adding that. Yeah, Mrs. Hillbilly. I couldn't do the other, but I got on. Well, thank you, Steve. Really appreciate that, bud. Well, Sandra, I mean, you want me to tell you the truth or you want me to blow smoke? I just call them like I see them. Typically, Peter, cleaning a gray tank is really not an issue, unless it's a galley tank, and they can get grease in them, and they are nasty. So do not. If you have a, it seems like it's worse on a galley specific gray tank. They're just horrible. Well, I didn't silence that phone either, and that guy has to call both phones. I bet you, Mrs. Hillbilly, you know who that was. And they probably just call and check up on me. All the gray tanks. Typically, Peter, if you only have one gray tank, it's usually not a problem. They keep themselves pretty clean. Because, like I say, the worst thing you can put in it's grease, and the rest of it kind of washes out. And I have seen flush systems on a gray tank. It's rare, but I have seen it. Oh, Marshall has a question. We have the outside grill with the little mounting rail. A few screws missing on that. Would the expansion rivet be the best thing to reattach that with? Yes. But now that rivet, the only thing it's going to be holding on is that, there's a 1/8 inch of Luan laminated onto the. If this is a fiberglass side, I was about to think, well, I'm going to edit that out. I can't edit a live show. Yeah, if this is a fiberglass sided camper, just remember those rivets are only going to be holding on a piece of 1/8 inch Luan and like a 1/16 of an inch of Phylon, which is the fiberglass. But yes, they should put some kind of structure behind that wall to hold stuff like that, but they don't. Don't ask me why. But those rivets, can't even think of the name of them right now. I have them in my Amazon store. Go to one of my videos, click on the Amazon store, and you'll see them. I don't know. I'm draw blank. They expand out huge. They'll expand out an inch around. But yeah, I have those in my Amazon store. Just forget what they're called. Somebody help me out. Thanks for the heart, Sandra. Douglas, he says, any tricks on finding a shorted 12-volt wire between the inverter and the fridge in a coach? I'm assuming you probably actually mean converter. It's just a 12-volt wire. It's it's an RV fridge or a 12-volt refrigerator. A lot of times, it's just easier to run a new wire than it is to find a short in an old wire. Especially if the converter is right there under the refrigerator. Man, just run a new wire. Don't even waste your time trying to find the short. Well, thank you too, B.A. Humdinger. Joey, not all Onans have the self-diagnosing thing. I don't know how old this generator is. It's probably a little older one. It does not have the self-diagnosing control board in it. Oh, okay, Marshall. So you're the one with the grill. Um, I doubt seriously if it's steel sided. It's probably aluminum sided, but yeah, those expandable rivets uh, are great. I knew, yeah, wall anchor. Uh, I don't know if yeah, I just don't want to go to Amazon right now and see the name of those. But yeah, just go to my Amazon store, go into tools, I believe, and you'll see those rivets. Peter says the issue is with this gray tank. I'm assuming I don't leave gray tank open and drain when 2/3 full. Don't get that rush of water like the black tank does. Well, the thing about it is, Peter, if you think your tank's getting dirty, do that a couple times. Close the valve, let it feel 2/3 full, and pull the valve. That'll rush anything right out of there. You don't have to do it all the time, but you can do it a few times. See what happens. Hey, Jeff. Better late than never, buddy. I was late myself, so don't worry about it. I had some issues. I was trying. All you people that are new in here, I was trying to do one of those live stream things where I had the different screens and the different guests on here, and that fell through. Didn't happen. So I had everything all set up for that. I had questions. I had my guests lined up, and none of that happened. So I was totally unprepared for this style of live stream. So y'all bear with me. Um, yeah, actually, Corey, that's not always true. I'm seeing more and more gray tanks with 3-inch pipes, 3-inch valves coming out of them. So yeah, that used to be the case, but it's not always the case anymore. A lot of them have 3-inch.
It's a little early. Yeah.
Oh, Douglas says it's a 2006 model generator. We went to the aftermarket module, limited diagnoses, flight systems module, new brushes, got it running for a couple hours, shut down, tried to restart. Ah, oh, Douglas, probably. I mean, it very well could be that aftermarket stuff because I know Onan stuff is so incredibly expensive, but man, there's just some things I just don't like aftermarket stuff for. Best to go OEM a lot of times. Jeff wants to know what's your thoughts on using a Valterra flush king valve to back flush the gray and black tank. Not really sure. I don't have any experience with that. Don't really even know what that is. I'm assuming it's some kind of flexible hose you run up in the tank. Yeah, it's fine as long as that valve's open. Which, if you have to run it up the back end of the sewer pipe, then yeah, your valve's going to be open. Yeah, that seems okay to me. Yeah, Sandra, I've seen some stuff on that also. Ah, I don't know. I don't really know that the gray tanks need it. Now, the galley tank, one of the worst jobs I ever done a few years ago. Lady had a galley tank that was plumb full, backed up into the kitchen sink, and I dug 35 gallons of rancid grease out of that tank. One little, all I could do was take the valve out, stick a stick back in there, pull it back out, pull a little grease out, do it again. Did that for a couple hours. Pulled 35 gallons of rancid grease out of that thing. She swore she had never put a drop of grease down her kitchen sink. I'm like, well, the evidence says otherwise. But so yeah, you have to be careful with those galley tanks. Marshall wants to know, what's your opinion on lithium batteries? Think about upgrading, which means a new converter. Have you dealt with Dynamic Solutions Smart Type that would charge lithium and regular batteries? I know just about, Marshall, all the new converters now on the market. Um, he won't leave me alone. Um, they will do both lithium and lead acid and whatever else you got, gels or whatever. Uh, Again, I really have no experience with them. I know the lithium batteries are supposed to be the latest and greatest. I don't know. I know they're pricey. Of course, they're getting. One, I understand they're getting, um, you know, cheaper, less expensive. So I don't know. If you do a lot of dry camping, I think they're awesome. If you don't do any dry camping, don't waste the money. That's my opinion. What they say about opinions. Everybody's got one. Peter says he's going to change it up. If I buy a 10,000-pound scissors jack, why can that not lift a 6,500-pound trailer? Well, Peter, those scissor jacks are stabilizing jacks. They're not. I didn't even know they made a 10,000-pound one. But the stabilizer jacks that they put on most travel trailers won't hold much weight. If you, they just won't. They're not. They're not a jack. They're a stabilizer. So yeah, I don't know anything. I had no idea they had them that big. Oh, Douglas says the crank starts, dies when you let off the button. I initially had an overspeed fault. If I remember right, there is a way to check brush resistance at the module. I need to get it in before a trip in May. Yeah, Douglas. I mean, if you have access to a shop manual, they do have pretty good schematics in there. If you're good at reading schematics, yeah, I mean, those brush wires come back to that board somewhere. So if you, with the proper schematics, yes, you can read resistance on the brushes. If you've got the generator, sounds like you still have the generator out, just visually inspect the brushes. If the generator's in the coach, that's pretty hard to do. Oh yeah, Douglas. Yeah, people do that, man. um, Hot water. I mean, I don't know. Um, if you had access to a lot of hot water, I mean, you could probably close the valve, get all the hot water you can out of your water heater, put in there, and drain that out once. I think hot water is probably one of the better ways. And I mean, Sandra says she's watched videos today about cleaning your gray tank with Calgon and Pine Sol mixed. Keep them slick and sanitized. So I don't know. Maybe that'll work. I don't honestly don't know. That was the only one I'd ever run across, and it was terrible. I'd rather play in a black tank all day long as do another gray tank like that. That was nasty. I had that stuff everywhere. I was trying to catch it in the bucket, and that wasn't really working. I had that rancid grease all over underneath that RV, running out from under it, down over the bank. It was terrible. Lady went and bought a bag of lime to put on it because it's terrible. Yeah, Peter, you're talking about the braces that go from the stabilizer up to the frame of the RV. I know they make the RV much more stable, um, but there again, you have to remember to loosen that little knob before you start retracting your stabilizer jacks. Otherwise, you'll damage that system. Another thing to remember. I don't know. Douglas comment about the previous lady. Grease traps are nasty. Running the murder. Yeah, grease is terrible. and you get rancid grease in a system like that, man. It's hideous. It's hideous. I'm telling you. Marshall says one more reoccurring issue with my pop up is an access panel under the pull out dinette. Thought thought he gasket was the problem. Replaced with a new one. The water pump hides in there. Uh, Reattaching there. Marshall, I really don't know what you're talking about there, bud. I was thinking about cutting this panel and lowering it a little, then reattaching lower. Uh, yeah, I don't really know, bud. I don't. It's old hillbillies. We don't understand very good. Sometimes you got to draw us a picture. Miss Hillbilly, you still in here? Y'all got to come up with something to talk about. Like I said, I was completely unprepared for this tonight. Y'all dropping like flies too. There's only 15 people left in here. Thank you, Douglas. Yeah. No, I see there's 12. 12 likes. Sanders says panels under the pull-out dinette. Screws don't hold very well. Pulls off eventually. Tight fit. Yeah, I mean, do whatever you got to do to secure it. So yeah. Yeah, Joey says thanks for being honest. That's the one reason I really like your channel, dude. It's the only way I know how to be. Uh, I like something, I'll tell you. If I don't like something, I'll tell you. Ain't no reason to sugarcoat it. Sure, Marshall. He wants to. He said that panel's about 6 inches tall, thinking of cutting it, then lowering it to about 5 inches tall, still maintain the seal. Sure, go for it. No, Douglas, I didn't really expect to be honest with you. Business has really been for sale for several years, and haven't had any bites really. Yeah, Corey says try magnets on that access panel. That's they make self-adhesive magnets. That's always a possibility if you want to stick something up. Nothing really, Miss Hillbilly. I was just wondering if you're still here. Um, Sandra, don't make me bring it to West Virginia when he jacks it up. Oh, well, Sandra. Yeah, sometimes that happens. uh, I've had people come from pretty far off to have me work on stuff before. I've had people want me to come way far off too. I couldn't tell you how many people's wanted me to follow them to Florida in the wintertime, snowbirds. It's like, well, it's tempting, but I'm a West Virginia boy. Actually, Joey, Mrs. Hillbilly's at home. She did not feel well this evening, so she stayed home. Because I had to come across town to come over here and borrow internet to do that fancy live stream that I wanted to do. And turns out I could do this on my phone at home. But yeah, I'll get that. I'll get that straightened out for those of you that didn't uh, are new here. I was going to do a different kind of live stream tonight. That didn't work out, so I ended up just doing this one. So yeah, I have to drive. I have to drive somewhere to borrow somebody's internet because our internet does not work at the house ever. Yeah, I get that a lot too, Sandra. Yeah, there have been points in my life where I would work for food, but that's not as big an incentive as it used to be. Sorry. uh, yeah, Marshall. I don't know what you're gonna do with her because I'm assuming you and Sandra are together. uh, well, you just did, Joey. She's in here. Beans and taters. You know what? You're getting closer, Sandra. Yeah, Corey, I've looked at Starlink, but I don't know. I got burnt so bad with HughesNet several years ago that I don't know, man. I really resist the whole satellite thing. Um, and Starlink still in beta version, and nobody can say how much data you're going to get for X number of dollars after the beta version is over. Once it goes into normal version, whatever. So yeah, they could tell you that you only get so much data a month for this much money, and if you want this much data, you got to pay more money. I'm not getting into that. That's what I run into with HughesNet. They were not honest up front and about the data that you get. Yeah, Douglas, not a drinking game. It's a good thing. Thank you, Miss Hillbilly. Yeah, that's a good question, Bill. I'm not. Peter wants to know what maintenance should I do while sitting in the same location while snowbirding, other other than tanks, cleaning, checking roof, water filter stuff. Yeah, man, just any maintenance is better than no maintenance, Peter. Um, I mean, that's just the people that just walk around blindly for 6 months ignoring a issue, and then it's a huge issue, and then they go, "Oh, I didn't think it was going to happen like that," but it does. So just keep an eye on everything. That's the best thing you can do. Oh, that's cool, Sandra. I've seen that on the internet. Marshall sees cowboy name. Yeah, Berkeley Springs. We lived in Winchester for 13 years, Winchester, Virginia. So it was real close to Berkeley Springs. And Bill Carper is still up there. Uh, Bill, you live in Charlestown. He lives in Charlestown, West Virginia. So he's right up in there with y'all when y'all camp at Berkeley Springs. kind of internet do you have, Corey? You say your prices are crazy. Mrs. Hillbilly, Bill want to know it's RV show season. Anybody getting any RV shows? Going to any RV shows? Yeah, Sandra, you're in Northern Virginia, in Fredericksburg, right up there. I mean, you can throw a rock all in places. Winchester, Fredericksburg, the Eastern Panhandle, West Virginia, Berkeley Springs. Peter wants to know because he's snowbirding. Should I be running the slide out in and out every few weeks, cleaning the gears and rails? Yeah, run the slides in and out every few weeks wouldn't be a bad idea at all. Because I've seen many times people leave them out for 6 months and then they won't go in. So, yeah. Cleaning gears and rails, they shouldn't be getting dirty. So I wouldn't worry about that. Yes, Douglas, that's exactly right. Most people don't do any maintenance to it. Don't work no more. And it's not maintenance, it's fixing it because it broke. Oh, Jeff wants to know when replacing the anode rod in a suburban water heater, should I use magnesium or aluminum rod? I don't know. I saw a video on this just this week. There's supposed to be some guy out there. I don't think he's running a YouTube channel, but somebody was videoing him while they were working on his camper, and I can't remember who that was. But I mean, all this guy does is tanks. I don't know where he lives. He must live in a big metropolitan area because he does, black tanks, gray tanks, and water tanks, water heaters, and that's all he does. And he was telling you when to use aluminum rod, when to use a magnesium. And to be honest with you, I didn't really pay that much attention. I just thought it was pretty cool that there's actually somebody out there that's doing a mobile service and all they do is tanks. So yeah, I don't know how to answer that, Jeff. I'd say any anode rod's better than no anode rod. Marshall says we're on several forums. Pop up in cold weather seems to be a big controversy. When do you think the windows cracking would be an issue? Cold weather. You talking about the plastic windows in the sides of the camper? I mean, they're some kind of acrylic or vinyl, or I don't know what they're made out of, but they're like any other plastic. They don't like cold. I don't know of any plastic that likes cold. They always get brittle and funny and do weird things. Man, wow, Corey. And if y'all don't know, Corey's up in the western side of Canada. 120 for home, 70 for phone. Boy, that is pricey internet, brother. I hope it's good internet for that price. Miss Hillbilly and Sandra are in a private conversation there. Oh, Sandra. Okay, cool. HVAC tech, plumber, carpenter, and electrician. Well, that's awesome, Sandra. Nice. Yeah, I heard that, Sandra. Me too. The older I get, the more brittle I get in cold weather. Peter says we just changed the internet Wi-Fi to T-Mobile home tower thing that plugs in. Say unlimited data for $50 a month, working well. Well, yeah, that would be a possibility too if we had better cell service. We don't have. We barely got cell service at home too. We live in West Virginia, people. We live in the sticks, so we're just lucky to have cell service. Well, yeah, hillbilly sometimes don't get what people say. What'd Sandra say that I missed? All about the RV owner, HVAC tech, plumber, carpenter, electrician. Is that what I missed? I don't know. Y'all have to help me. Oh, wow. Yeah, Corey, that's always tough. Only 3 providers, huh? Oh, well, oh, well, yeah, that's totally true, Miss Hillbillies and Sandra. Yeah. If you're going to own an RV, you really need to be a jack of all trades, especially if you're going to be fixing stuff yourself. Yes, Sandra. Hillbilly. All those things. Yes. That's why they call them hollers, Peter, because you just have to holler. You got no other kind of communication other than holler at your neighbor. Hey, neighbor, you all right? What's going on? Someday, maybe we will get high-speed internet. They're supposed to be fiber opting the whole state of West Virginia, but it's a 10-year project, and it'll probably be 19 years before it gets down there where I'm at. It's like 3 miles away, but there ain't nothing down in that 3 miles for them to run the fiber optic down there. They're no big hurry anyway. Well, man, you guys have been awesome tonight with these questions and these comments. Uh, this has been fantastic. Yeah, well, as soon as he is, maybe we'll get internet. Yeah, Marshall. Wow, that's that's. He says he repacks the bearings, replace grease seals every 12 months or 3,000 miles, whatever comes first. Keep maintenance log. Wouldn't believe the amount of black clash I get over saying that. Yeah, I mean that's awesome. That may be overdoing it. Uh, but I mean, hey, you will probably never have an issue on the road though. Like I had one this week. Um, people called at 4:30 in the evening and said, "Hey, we're broke down beside the road. We got a bad wheel bearing." I said, well, I'll see you in the morning. Luckily, was able to find parts, got them going really quick, had them going before lunch, and they was on their way. They was heading to Myrtle Beach, but yeah, maybe if he took the bearings out and cleaned them, inspected them, re-greased them every 12 months or 3,000 miles, maybe you wouldn't have had an issue. So, Marshall, don't pay any attention to people. Just keep doing what you're doing, brother. Daniel Sharon, currently in the process of becoming a certified even technician and very excited about good potential to make good money. I'm taking a 5 weeks trade school program in Athens, Texas. Uh, Good luck, Daniel. Uh, they just good luck, bud. I hope it works out well for you. But you'll probably find out you didn't learn as much down there as you thought you was going to learn. That's all I got to say about that. RV Tech, yeah, okay, EV Tech, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people coming out of that school. Um, uh, Bill, if Bill's still in here, he went to that school. Um, some other guests I've had on here have been graduates of that school. If y'all watch my videos, which I hope you do, when I went down to Inman, South Carolina a few weeks ago and visited with Anthony and Tanya. They're both graduates of that school. Yeah, I'm Douglas. I'm right there with you. Good job on those bearings, Marshall. If it keeps you off the side of the road, broke down. Uh, yeah, I was gonna kind of harp on him there, but hey, you know what? I got to thinking about it after I got to talk about it. Man, if that keeps him broke down beside the road, more power to you, Marshall. Yeah, don't listen to us. People that say you don't need to do that. Yes, Miss Hillbilly, VLRV down in Inman, South Carolina. They're graduates of that school in Texas also. Not around here, Peter. Everything's free, brother. He said, "Thank you for the help." Usually, answers come with a fee. I mean, if you want to pay a fee, that's fine, but you don't have to. No, I'm kidding. Don't worry about it. Just that's why I started this channel. I wanted to help people out. So, all right, well, guys and gals, seems like the questions are starting to kind of winding down here. Of course, every time I say that, 5 questions pop up. We've been on here almost an hour, and I've been imposing on these nice folks' internet for almost 2 hours because I got here early to make sure everything was working good. I thought it was working good, and then it wasn't working at all. So, uh, yeah, Marshall said next thing he needs is a portable air pump option. Um, yeah, actually, I've got a video coming out tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. I got a video coming out in the morning, um, dealing with some of the things you might want to carry on your RV, and one of them is an air pump. Actually, they make a jump box with a built-in air compressor and a light. And so I talked about that. I'd actually put one in my Amazon stores. Go check that one out if you want to look at those. Um, and I think if you have an RV, it'd be a great thing to have. Jeff Steele wants to know, did I go to any RV school? Yes, I did. I went to some generator schools in the beginning. Um, I've done some online stuff, but not a lot of RV school per se. Because actually, I mean, when I started this, there wasn't RV schools per se. You could go to domestic school, you could go to suburban school, you do stuff like that. But as far as just like a RV school, there wasn't really anything like that because I've been in this for a while. Douglas says, "Do you know the people or just knocked on the door and hooked to the internet?" Well, they sure were friendly when they come to the door. No, no, these are relatives, but they live all the way across town, so it's like 20-minute drive over here, 20-minute drive back home. It's a pain. Uh, yeah, Douglas, man, I bought a lot of Milwaukee tools. Matter of fact, would y'all be interested in seeing a review on my Milwaukee tools that I purchased in the last few months? Because I'll tell you what, me and Cameron tested some of them here in the last few months. I've really been really happy with my Milwaukee tools. Um, I got a lot of it. So, would y'all like to see reviews on my Milwaukee tools? Peter says, should I DIY air vent covers? I think I can, but really don't want to cause a bigger issue getting in over my head. Air vent covers, like Max Air covers or something like that. They're pretty They're pretty easy to install. Just follow the instructions. They come with written instructions. I think even pictures. Even I can read pictures if that's what you talk about. Yes, tool review. All right, Peter. I may think about that. Uh, and Jeff said yes too. Okay. Yeah, I wish Milwaukee would sponsor me, but because I spent a ton of money on Milwaukee tools. Um, I did away with my air compressor, and I'm not going to put another one back on the truck. Um, yeah, Peter. Yeah, Miss Hillbilly thought I had a video on it. No, I don't think I've ever. It's been years since I installed a Max Air cover, if that's what he's talking about. Yeah, Douglas. Some of mine was past borderline abuse. Uh, if y'all watch my other channel, the Behind the Curtains, that garage that me and Cameron worked on, we were working up on scaffolding, 12 feet off the ground. We were working up on scissor lifts, 12 feet off the ground. I could not tell you how many times we dropped the drill and the impact drivers. I mean, it was ridiculous. And we'd go back down, pick it up, slap the battery back in. And if the battery flew out, which a lot of times it did, change the tool in it because we'd break the tools, and it worked. It still works. It's unreal. Pretty impressed. Sandra says, let's look into the old RV Tech toolbox. We need more toys. Okay. Um, I don't want to do like a full review, tool review, but I might do the Milwaukee thing. No, Douglas, she does not get excited when a Milwaukee toolbox shows up. No. Mongo 100. Why do you no longer need air compressor on your truck? Because I have the only thing I really kept it for was my pneumatic tools, my brad gun and my staple gun, and I have Milwaukee cordless stuff to replace those, so I don't need the air compressor. I don't do chassis work on motorhomes, so it's not like I'm putting air in tires. And actually, my little compressor was not the kind of thing you want to put air in tires anyway. So just took the compressor off, done away with it. Took 150 pounds of weight off my truck, my severely overloaded truck. Well, Sandra, it's really funny that you just wrote top 10 tools to have on hand. Y'all come back to my channel at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning and you'll see a video. And those of you who are here, the 17 of you are here, you'll get a kick out of Sandra Gerald's comment there. I hope y'all enjoy it. Excuse me. Yes. Miss Hillbilly does like to pop the bubble wrap. Drives me crazy. Douglas. That's funny. I don't blow burner tubes out, Mongo. I physically clean them. I got a little piece of rag tied on a piece of wire, and I'll run it back in there and physically clean them out. I've always done that. Even when I had a compressor on the truck, I didn't use it for that. Oh, Cirque Selwab. Sorry if I butchered that. I don't know if that's your real name or your YouTube handle. How do we get by without ratchet wrenches and power tools? Man, I don't know. I don't know how we ever got by without a cordless drill minimum. Jeff wants to know where you can find water line in a Class A motorhome. Do I like cut the bottom cover? Typically, Jeff, Those water lines are not completely hid from view. You might have to remove some access panels and stuff. Yeah, Class A motorhomes, they're a different animal when you're starting to work on water lines than a travel trailer. Oh, Mrs. Hillbilly, you think so? I had a buddy of mine that done that for his Facebook name, and just mirror imaged it. All right, guys. Like I said here 10 minutes ago, we're coming up on an hour or over an hour. I really appreciate everybody coming in here. And I told you as soon as I said I was leaving, a bunch of questions had come up. That's how it goes. Everybody procrastinates. Like, well, I'll wait. And then it's too late. So I am going to get out of here. I'm going to quit bothering these nice people and taking their internet. And I'm going to go back across town where I belong. So, Mrs. Hillbilly, you get ready. I'm coming home. And y'all have a fantastic day. We'll try and do another one of these tomorrow, or not tomorrow, in the next few weeks. And hopefully the other thing will work out. So, y'all have a great evening, and we'll catch you later. Good night, everybody. Good night.